right? Man, it feels good to be back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks. It's been too long.
2 weeks too long.
And now we're live from Fondren Library on the beautiful campus of SMU with your hosts, Yonnic, Walker, and Jay. But you are listening to the Mustang Mood podcast.
Yes, sir.
And I bet they're probably feeling in the Mustang mood right now.
I mean, I am. It's 8 a.m. on the dot.
On the dot.
On the
Wow,
dot.
we started right
I've
on
got
time.
my coffee. I'm in the Mustang mood.
Yes,
I don't know what else to
sir.
say.
Yes, sir.
And I'm just so excited for what we are going to be talking about today. I mean, the Mustang mood is expanding. We're growing beyond what our original mandate was, which was originally just football.
No. We kind of always.
We started.
Okay,
with
sorry.
basketball,
Sorry to say no. I don't know.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Fight.
We thought, we wanted a podcast about SMU, but
it did start with football.
it started with football, and that was kind of like the original thing that we were doing. And now it's, through some prodding and internal prodding from Walker and Jay, we're expanding to sports that we have never covered before, and
honestly,
excited.
probably most of y'all have never watched before.
Yeah.
probably.
I don't know. Maybe not.
I've kept up with a little bit of
Yeah.
everything, but
Sure.
never watched.
No. Yeah. I mean, we started with football. We obviously talked about basketball.
Mhm.
We were the ones that got Rob Lanier fired.
Exactly.
That's true.
So you're welcome.
Watch the tapes, but arguably, how much would be different? Anyway.
Imagine
but-
where we'd be.
But we're really just about SMU sports.
Mm-hmm.
We just care about SMU succeeding in everything that they do, whether it be stuff that you see on TV a lot or stuff that maybe you don't see on TV a lot.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think football's probably our favorite sport, right?
Probably.
But just in general, I love sports. I love watching sports.
We love SMU.
We love SMU.
Love SMU.
And I love learning about people's stories and paths within sports,
Yeah.
It's fun.
I wish that a lot of these sports were more easily televised. And I know that, they don't make the money that football does, but if they were more easily viewable or streamed, they don't need to be televised, just more easily streamed to where
I'm sure they are somewhere, right?
somewhere, right?
Maybe.
I don't know where though. And that's the thing is and
Join us as we try to find out.
yeah, as we try to find out, right? But if I feel like for some of these sports, I mean, we'd probably have more viewers and more people interested if we could easily go and watch the tennis team play Prairie View A&M. If we could see that, then it'd be easier to jump on board and jump on the train.
Yeah.
I would go if Prairie View A&M's band was there too.
Facts.
Their band is so good.
They're so much fun. Yeah. Oh man. You know what I saw the other day is we don't have a last home game. I think we're missing a football game for this season. We haven't.
Did somebody cancel?
We don't have a.
We've
like
only
we're
had 5 home games this year.
we're missing one.
I think we're missing a game right now.
Mm.
I don't know.
Maybe somebody
but
canceled.
It'll probably just be a softball.
Vanderbilt.
But we're going to Missouri State. That's our softball.
Yeah.
But we need a home game softball.
Right.
They'll probably pick one up for first game of the year, right?
Well, first game of the year is Baylor, week 1.
Is it really?
September 6th. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they had a date for it already. Okay.
I think that's week 1. Maybe August 31st is week 1.
I haven't been keeping up with the schedule for next year yet.
But the first game on our schedule right now is Baylor
Yeah.
on September 6th.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So I'm pumped.
I know a lot of Baylor people.
We all renewed our football season tickets
Yep.
this week.
Yep.
Sorry. Now we're talking about football.
It's okay. Immediately.
We were going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah, we can get this out of the way and then we can.
But we've renewed our season tickets this week.
Mm-hmm.
Pumped. I think section 208 is the official.
Yeah.
That is
Mustang
the
mood.
Mustang mood section. Yeah.
That is true.
So if
It's
you're
the best because you get in the shade first.
Yep.
That is true.
Then
First spot to get the shade. It's also it's the cheapest section you can get, but it's right next to. So the early bird pricing is $150 for a ticket, right? And the section right next to it is $450.
yeah, it's
Literally
nuts.
a section over.
Literally,
I don't
crazy.
understand the way that they do that pricing.
Because we're right on the goal line.
Yeah.
I think it's probably why. It's
Yeah.
if you're in the field of play, the equivalent.
You got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, and that's where they drew it. But it's a huge line to draw.
It's quite the
It's
jump.
like a $300.
maybe they would step it up, but I'm not complaining.
No,
I
not in the slightest.
I will say for like value for your money and experience, Section 208 is number one.
The experience is unparalleled.
It's the number one section.
You're either with the Mustang mood or you're with the Mustang mood spouses. I mean,
You
that's
probably
an
won't
unparalleled
see us
experience.
very often in that section because
That's true. But
Hey, who knows?
we'll probably. But I usually pop down there a couple.
yeah,
times
yeah.
over
Like
again.
you'll see us visit, and you can come, and we're basically celebrities. You can come take a selfie with us and stuff like that. So, we'll visit you at halftime.
Meet and greet.
Yeah, meet and greet for the,
Yeah,
for the
you could
Mustang mood.
just line up.
Single file.
Each person
Yeah,
each
there you
person will get a couple minutes, and
Bring your kids. It's good luck for your kids.
Yonnic will sign your baby's heads.
Only in the most permanent of Sharpies.
Yonnic will be doing tattoos. Only on children.
See, this is how I'm gonna get kicked off. Not just the podcast, but out of anything SMU related.
It's just not going to be allowed in anymore.
Oh yeah. But very
Actually,
exciting.
in the post game. You're the guy.
You're that guy.
You're the guy
with
who
the babies.
tattoos the babies. Why do you do that?
Oh no. Well,
What a great start to the show.
didn't expect it to go there, but I will be, continuing my art career September 6th.
So let's just keep talking about football. Let's just get it out of the way. So
Yeah.
as much as we want to look forward, I feel like we should look back a little bit more
Okay.
because I found some charts that go over the 2024 ACC attendance trends. Shout out to the ACC community on Reddit.
Yeah.
Mm.
I would be nothing without you.
This is pretty nuts. I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So when it comes to, well, let's just talk about SMU. So our 2023 average was 22,600, and our 2024 average is 32,700.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
We're up
10,000 more
10,000.
on average.
Yeah, on average, we're up 10,000 attendees at each game. That's a
Wild.
44% increase year over year. Now, there's also a 5-year average, which
The
is,
next, wait, real quick, the next highest average to go up was Miami, which was 20%. Like in terms of just percentage of rising.
yeah.
That's wild. We more
Miami
than
also
doubled the
rose.
next one.
Well, Miami rose 10,000 as well, but they have a higher capacity stadium. So
Exactly.
But their
Yeah.
5-year, like year over year, and over the last 5 years, they're more consistent. So last year was just kind of a down year for them. And
But
so-
yeah, I mean, Miami's had the last 30 years of more positive success, whereas we're just now getting to this. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's more football expansion, stadium expansions. I
But
don't know.
something interesting. Yes, they were only 3-9, but Stanford's attendance went down. Well, I guess they were in the Pac-12 before.
Yeah. I wonder. I'd imagine that people wouldn't mind, like a lot of Pac-12 schools wouldn't mind going to Palo Alto.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
yeah, and they did not host the Cal game this year, so
Yeah,
like, they had like two.
that probably
in-state
played into it.
schools.
I did see something interesting, kind of with the whole realignment and everything. Is like a big part of college football is the like regional rivalries.
Yeah.
Right. And
Mhm.
honestly, like for a lot of people, those games are more important than playoff games.
Yeah.
Because it actually like means something, right?
Right. It means
so when-
something to the guy at work that you can brag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly, like if I had a TCU coworker, I mean, I would rub it into their face. I do have a TCU coworker, but she's like 2 levels beneath me, so I don't want to like,
Yeah, don't.
Be frying eggs every day.
Yeah. But if my boss was a TCU person, I would totally be jabbing at him for it, for sure. But
Sorry, I can't hear you with the iron skillet over my.
but honestly,
ears.
like like I think I care, like my heart cares more about that game than pretty much any other game of the year.
Yeah.
Even the playoff game. Like I understand the importance and significance of the playoff game, and it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And the exposure we got was invaluable.
Right.
But just like as a fan,
Totally agree. In 5 years, I'm gonna remember that we went to the playoffs this year
Yeah.
and that we beat TCU, that we smacked TCU.
I'm
It's
gonna
not
remember.
just
And
that.
Sunny Dykes,
And Sunny Dykes got kicked out.
I'm gonna remember that game for the rest of my life.
And I'm not gonna remember the score of the Florida State game. I'm like,
No.
Yeah.
the Boston College game was fun.
I'm not going to remember the ACC championship. Granted, we lost, but
Oh, I think I might remember that.
well,
I'll remember
we had a pretty cool experience.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But it's not. But even so, I mean, I'll remember it, but it's not. It doesn't have the same sweetness. I don't. I'll be honest, guys. I don't think any TCU game past or in the future is ever going to be what this last year's TCU game is. I just like, and I say that because
You can't beat it. Yeah.
the poeticness of Sonny getting kicked out and everything, and just the stomping that it was. I mean, I don't want us to lose this year, and knock on wood, we're going to just beat the brakes off them again. But like, I feel like that was the end. Like that was the real end of the rivalry. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
at least temporarily. I mean, if we were to resume it again in the future, great. But that felt like the end of the rivalry right there.
I'm really interested to see. TCU just got a new AD, and so I'm hopeful.
See if he brings it back.
I'm hopeful he'll bring it back.
We got a new president.
Yeah,
We did.
guy's named Jay. Man, there's something about this.
There's good guys.
Not biased
Boys.
at all when you say that.
Handsome, smart, and just great leaders.
Mm.
So that's what I feel. So Jay Hartzell, if you want to come on the podcast, we'd love to.
Welcome
have you.
anytime.
Yeah, we're open to taking photos with you. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, if you want an
if you have
autograph,
a
just let me
baby.
know. If you have a baby, Yonnic will tattoo it.
But yeah, I've been
Oh,
super stoked about. I mean, apparently Texas, like they were stunned that he left. I mean, because he'd done really well there, and in some ways, some people might think it's a downgrade of a position to go from a big public
It
university
is
to
not.
But it
Now, don't
really
get me
isn't.
wrong. I think UT is a really excellent university. Like as far as the
Yeah.
system goes, they're really
yeah.
good.
I hate
But
UT
man-
Best in the state.
as a fan, but I
they
agree.
probably are.
It's
Yeah.
it's a
them
great
and
system
Rice, and it's like, man, really academically excellent.
in most areas. Yeah,
But this guy really, I mean, you got to imagine that is a really hard job.
Oh
to
my
like,
gosh,
for
it's
the
gotta be so
legislator
hard.
to be right next to you and like be breathing down your neck.
telling you
Yeah,
what to do all the time.
Yeah. Even if we're paying him the same amount of money, like the job's just better. You don't have
We're
to,
definitely paying him more.
yeah.
We're
But
paying. Yeah, he's getting more money. It's a much less stressful job,
yeah.
and the school is awesome,
Yeah.
and it's in a better city. Well, I know some people disagree, but it's a better city.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think the vibe of Austin can be better. Like the maximum.
It
Like,
seems a bit like
goodness.
slower, you know?
Austin.
The nightlife is probably better than Dallas's. I will say that.
Yeah, the food's probably better.
But there's a lot of downsides that, I mean, we're totally off on a tangent here, but downsides of Austin versus Dallas, I think Dallas has a much more long-term upside. I'd rather live in Dallas. If I were going to start a
For sure.
family and have a family, I'd rather be in Dallas.
Yeah.
for
Yeah, I
sure,
agree.
Which I do.
Yeah.
So.
What's crazy is he's only the 11th president of
Right?
SMU.
When I saw that, I was like, that's wild.
And he's like the 31st or something, or 30th of Texas.
UT, yeah.
Yeah. So
And they're like 40 years older than us.
I think they're only like
Yeah.
20.
We're,
Really?
I mean, but we're over
Maybe
100
40.
years old, and we've only had 11?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, these are long.
Really
I
just
think
10.
presidents.
Really just 10.
Yeah, because he hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
We've had 10 in over 100 years.
I think that speaks a lot to our school.
they love our job. They love SMU.
And maybe, I'm not going to say how easy the job is, but
How good the job is.
how good the job is.
well, but
Yeah.
and RGT's been here since 9.
he's been here 30 years. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
The man that resurrected.
He really is. Like,
95. 30.
yeah, 30 years.
Oh,
yeah.
dang. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, and our university would not be what it is today without him. Like,
You know,
No, not at all.
he's probably going to go down. I don't know much about the history of SMU presidents, but he probably will go down as like the most influential president
Yeah.
in the history of the university.
When he set
Yeah,
it up
probably.
so well, he set up the university so that Jay has the ability to take
Yeah.
off.
Like, it's literally going to be a slam dunk for Jay. Like,
Yep.
and if you think about it, if he didn't do
President
everything that he
Herzl.
did, Jay probably wouldn't have come over. President Herzl probably wouldn't have come over.
We can call him Jay. We're
Okay,
close.
Jay.
I'm-
Yeah,
I'm-
that's true.
I'm a Jay. He's a Jay. We call each other that.
But yeah, I mean, if President Turner didn't do what he did, I mean, he probably wouldn't have come here because the job wouldn't be what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
so
I think we've talked about this a little bit before on the podcast, but I had like a kind of mixed feelings about him as a student, like
Mhm.
as the president. But like taking a step back and seeing what he's doing,
well, we're
like
not saying he's
for
perfect.
alumni, for the university, for academics, for athletics.
He brought the Boulevard.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to bring the Grove essentially.
Yeah.
And like it's just blossomed. I think very, very highly of what RGT has done.
For sure.
And we talked about the athletics side, but you don't get into the ACC without having good academics as well.
Mhm.
And so him realizing that, hey, we need, like 20 years ago, he was realizing, hey, we need to keep upgrading our academics so that so when the opportunity comes, we can take that step up.
Yeah.
And so look at our application numbers. Is that up
Through
like
the roof.
60%?
Yeah.
Over a couple of years ago.
And it'll probably be even better next year with all the exposure we got in the college football playoff.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only going to get higher and higher.
Yeah.
And so it's nuts to go up 60%. I think that's the number I heard. Year over year is absolutely insane.
And we kind of benefit from it too as alumni, in the sense of like we got in SMU when it was easier, and that's in air quotes, 'cause like relatively easier.
Hey,
Right.
Hey. Come on, guys.
I mean, it was still a great school when
Yeah.
we went there, but I agree.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the reasons I picked SMU is because I thought that our engineering program was going to was on the rise. I thought the school was on the rise.
Yeah.
It was kind of undervalued
Because it's
valued at the time.
it is kind of nice because when you tell someone you went to SMU, they don't think of what SMU was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
They think about what it is now.
Yep.
And so
They assume that whatever it is now is what you had back then.
SMU has always had a stellar reputation, but it's only getting better, and we get to benefit from the better reputation now,
Exactly.
which is great. So thank you, President Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So RGT, if you want to come on, be on the podcast as well, we'd love to have the president emeritus. If you want to do a post-game podcast after football games next year, man, you are so welcome to be the 5th host of the Mustang Mood.
Oh,
Because if there's one man that has the Mustang Mood,
it is RGT.
it's RGT.
Oh, yeah.
David Miller probably also has the Mustang.
He has the Mustang mood, but
Oh, I saw him freaking out the other day if we want to transition into basketball on the sideline.
something else.
Something
Something else I wanted to say was SMU was the only ACC school that averaged over 100% capacity.
Oh, wow, that's nuts.
Because we're awesome.
Who's lowest on this list?
Probably
Stanford's
Stanford.
pretty low.
Stanford.
Wow. Okay, hold up. Florida State. I wonder if I think their stadium capacity.
Yeah,
was
so they have an
lowest.
asterisk next to them. It says capacity reduced from 2023 season due to construction.
Okay.
So they averaged 97% capacity,
Okay.
which is good.
And had a 32% drop
But they were,
in
yeah,
attendance.
32.
But that's because of construction.
Yeah, so Stanford is the lowest. But what was their average
51%.
attendance?
What do you mean?
26,000.
26,000.
Yeah.
Were they the lowest average attendance? Yeah. And the highest was Clemson at 80,000. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Duke is pretty low too.
I like how the
Duke was also like 26,000, just averaged 100 more fans.
And some of these schools have a lot larger stadiums than we do.
Yeah.
So
29. Wake Forest didn't have a great year. Interesting. I'm excited to play them. We've got Syracuse on our schedule.
got a tough schedule coming up next
At
year.
home.
Fun home games.
Yeah.
Miami, Carson Beck.
Whoa.
yeah.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
kidding.
Wild.
Carson Beck in Ford Stadium.
He's coming.
Yeah. The long lost member of 21 Pilots is going to be playing football in our stadium.
I'm so excited for next year. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it seems like we're reloading well too, and so
Yes.
I did see though yesterday we lost a recruit to UNC. Did you see that?
It's fine. I
missed it.
mean, if he really likes Bill Belichick that much, then he should go be with the old man.
Yeah, I think there was. Yeah,
We got the
something
young
wasn't
bloods
quite
over
right,
here. No, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. I'll tell you guys what I was
yeah.
thinking after.
The other thing is I wanted to talk about the postseason viewership, or I think we wanted to talk about this. I was trying to make a point a while ago that the Pop-Tart Bowl might have been a better reward at the end of the season than the playoff game. And the numbers seem to maybe agree with what I was saying. So 6.8 million people watched the Pop-Tart Bowl. Only 6.6 million watched the playoff game. Now,
The SMU Penn State playoff game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think my point like my final point that I want to say about that is that I wish it wasn't at home. Like if it was any neutral site, even if it was in Pennsylvania, like I'd be okay with that. Like if they got to pick what the neutral site was, I'd be okay with that. But
Just not a fan of the home games.
just not a fan of the home games. Yeah. So it didn't. Yeah. I was looking at our bowl record yesterday. We're atrocious in bowls. We're 7-11 essentially. We're like, if you count the playoff game, we're 7-10-1 in bowl games
In the school's history?
in the school's history.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, we haven't been to a lot. When we were good, there weren't a lot of bowl games
Back
to
then,
play
yeah.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And so,
Last time we won like if you take out all the Aloha Bowls that we won in Hawaii, we're like 4 in 11 or something like that. So anyway, all that being said,
some years to change that in the future.
But on the bright side, we were a part of the number 3 and number 4 most viewed ACC games of the season.
yeah, of the postseason.
Yeah.
Of the postseason, yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised that the Clemson Texas game was so much higher than ours.
It's
Because
just
Clemson
Texas
at
fans.
Texas is 8.9 million. Yeah, but
Well,
it's
we
Penn
actually
State.
peaked. We
That's
peaked
true.
at Penn State at 8.8 million, and so, but because of the 2 pick sixes, the red zone interception, and the fumble, it's just
That was
People
Clemson
stopped
that
watching.
was Clemson versus SMU. SMU Penn State was
Oh, is that wrong?
7.9.
7.9.
Yeah.
But still, that's almost 8 million, and so it's really not that far off. But the problem is the game.
Clemson Texas
exciting.
was 9.5 million.
Yeah.
But that game was, I guess our game was kind of a boring game too, but yeah.
Yeah.
Their
It's
game was the most competitive first round playoff game.
Yeah, okay.
The Clemson Texas one.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. You want a competitive game if you want people to watch it.
That's also my other beef. I think first round games should be more competitive. I thought I liked the way that the seeding was, but it turned out so poorly that it
Yeah, it was
would
kinda
have
weird.
been more fun to play in Arizona State or Boise State or something like that in
Yeah.
the first round. So anyway, we'll see.
There's going to be changes.
Yeah, it
You
looks
know
like-
there's going to be changes.
It looks like that might happen for next year. We might go 12 teams with no automatic buys. So I saw the other day that they were talking about doing
Basically earned buys.
Like top 4 get by.
that. Top 4
Yeah.
get buys.
See,
Yeah.
that makes more
I'm
sense.
fine with it. I think what we settled on, disagree if you want to, but I think in my mind the best way to do it is the top 4 get buys, and then you just guarantee that the top 4 conference winners are in the playoff.
In the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think 16 is probably a better solution. With the buys, you don't think so?
I don't like more teams. I want fewer teams.
Yeah. but you're
No
weird.
more than 16. 16 would be my absolute max. I think 8 would probably be my sweet spot, but
It's better,
yeah.
just personally.
Do you want 2?
I probably would want to, but
Which is crazy is like
the reason
Just
why
get rid of the playoff altogether and go back to the
I see.
computer.
Well, I agree
decided.
with just making it as small as possible, and the reason why is because the bowls don't mean anything. I would love to go back to when bowls meant something.
yeah.
Right now, the only bowl that's worth anything is the Pop-Tart Bowl, and that's because it's cool.
I think I think we should just expand the playoff and then make more bowl games playoff games. Like get rid of the home field, expand the playoff to 16, and just have all of that first round be the different bowls that we already have.
Yeah. I agree. I like that idea.
I'll just
Yeah.
be the dissenting opinion on it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's great.
I like the idea of a lot of things, right? I like the idea of 8. I think 8 would actually be like the best size, and we play it like we did this year in the final 8. You're playing at the New Year's 6. So interesting. The national championship game had it been BCS would have been BCS style one. The 2-team playoff would have been Georgia, Oregon. Which is crazy. It's like they both.
Yeah,
lost
it's
in the
crazy that
first
they
round.
they lost the way they did.
That is kind of crazy.
But the thing is like, I'm also a believer that football games can look wildly different than how good a team actually is. SMU Penn State is actually a good example of this. SMU is a much better team than how we played because of 4 plays. I can't remember which ESPN analyst did this, but like 4 plays basically cost SMU like 20 plus points.
Yeah.
And it was, if you take those 4 plays away, all of a sudden it's like a neck and neck game. Like maybe we still lose, and Penn State's a good team, and probably maybe they were a little bit better than us. That's fine.
They definitely are.
Yeah, like that's fine. They definitely have more depth for sure. And at the end of the day, kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but dude, I just like totally lost my train of thought. Sorry, listeners. The 5 of you. But yeah, it's ultimately.
We got another listener.
No, that's just Titus.
It's
watching
because
separately from Adam.
Ben's not here.
Oh, that's what it is.
That
Yeah,
makes sense. He's listening.
Guys, I don't even remember what I was talking about. It's like I don't know what happened, guys. It's since 8 in the morning. I'm still sleeping. Anyway, what are we talking about? How should we move on?
Football, the playoffs. Like, what's your ideal state for where the game was deceiving? Kind of. The 4
yeah,
plays.
team. That's what I was saying. Yeah, teams are. They can look deceiving in terms of how good a team is. 4 plays can change the entire game, and the way that SMU Penn State is. That game would have been extremely competitive if those 4 plays didn't happen, I think. And so you can get unlucky. That's ultimately that's at the end of the day. Is like football is a sport that there's not a lot of repetition. That's why the NBA has 7 games to determine each round. It takes away the luck aspect of it. Football's not that way. There's you make one unlucky thing, one interception, pick 6 type thing. It'll derail your whole season, your whole playoffs. And so stuff like that happens. And because of that, there is going to be a lot of variance from what the BCS would be, the top 2 teams would be versus everything else. But
Yeah.
and I'm okay with it. I mean,
Yeah, because you only. It's not like we're playing series.
yeah.
Like we might have won, in a 5-game series or even a 3-game series. We might have won one game against Penn State.
Yeah, I think we would have actually.
And especially on a neutral field. I think, if it was a dome, I think we would have played a lot better. And man, Penn State, their passing game. I mean, they won a game, their playoff game. They had 0 receptions to their wide receivers. It's like insane. Drew Aller didn't complete a pass to his wide receiver once. Anyway,
Crazy.
Yeah. So I think we could have had a shot had there been more opportunities, but just the ball didn't bounce our way.
Yeah.
So.
But to the topic at hand, I think fewer teams are better personally. And even if that means who is in the championship game now doesn't get to be in it, in that scenario, like I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Well, we're probably going to name this episode Winter Sports Update, so we should probably talk more about winter sports.
Let's do it.
The people, they're going to read the title and they're going to listen to 30 minutes of football talk. And now they're like, thank God, finally, what I came to listen for.
Yeah. Skip ahead to this point. I've got this.
Well, you'd have to tell them that at the beginning.
I got this
Telling
in the
them now
mail
is
the other
useless
day.
to skip ahead.
Yes. Well, maybe we can put a note. Skip ahead to right here. I got this in the mail the other day.
Oh, what does it say?
And so, Yonnic, it's for all of us. So if you want to read it.
Okay. Official members of the Boopy Miller fan club.
Oh,
that is
Mustang
us.
Mood.
we're part of the Boopy Miller fan club.
Official members.
We
of
are.
the Boopy Miller fan club.
Why are,
BMFC.
why are we a part of this? Well, what changed that made this happen?
What changed? Well,
what
I mean, I just
You just got it.
what changed? Man, I tell you what. 1 second left in the game. I guess there was 4 seconds left. We get the ball to Boopy, down 1, and man,
what does
could
he
we
do?
drive to the paint? Yeah,
Sure.
Would that also win the game for us? Yes. Nah, that's not nearly as cool
It's not as exciting.
as shooting a fadeaway off balance 3 and
With the
just
From
defender.
the corners.
Yeah.
wish
Just
to win on the road against Virginia.
Now, I was a fan of Boopy Miller before this. 'cause
Oh, yeah.
That guy's awesome. He's such a good
But now we've paid
basketball
our
player.
dues.
But now, after this, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we bought in. We're full official members of the Boopy Miller fan club.
Full members of the BMFC. Yeah.
how do we feel like the season's going right now? I mean, because no offense to Virginia, they were 8-9, but
They're like 1-4, 1-5 in the ACC. Though.
yeah, and we barely won. We're 0-3 against Quad 1, but we're 2-1 in Quad 2, and then we're undefeated in 3-4. So we are. I mean, we're definitely a better than average team.
Who's our quad 2 loss?
I'm actually not sure which one's the Quad 2 loss.
UNC?
Maybe it's UNC. It's probably
Or
UNC.
Butler. UNC or Butler.
UNC or Butler is going to be one of them. Whichever one is lower rated between the two is going to be our quad 2 loss. But, we're struggling against the top teams, which, we're a good team. I wouldn't say we're a great team. We're a good team, better than average. How do we feel like the season's going? Do we think we're on track for,
I don't
advance?
think we have much wiggle room.
Yeah,
left.
we got to win. I think we probably have to win a quad 1 game in the tournament. In the
ACC.
In the ACC tournament. Or
We only have like a couple.
That's the
could be
problem.
that. It's like Duke and
I don't think there are any
UNC
quad
may
1
be a quad 1 at that point.
teams left. There's no ranked teams left on our schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not.
So, and I think we're favored in pretty much the rest of our games.
I mean, if we go undefeated, I think we're in. But that's a lot of games to go undefeated in. I mean, what is that, like 15, 16 games?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just. I mean, maybe it's not that many. Maybe it's like 14 games. But
14,
I mean, that's
14
a lot.
games.
Yeah, 14. Oh, good guess. But yeah, I think if we go undefeated, we're going to be in the dance because we just have so many wins against quad 2 and below, and only 3 losses against quad 1s. I mean, that's not a bad resume. It's just it's really hard to go undefeated on a 14-game win streak. I mean, people just don't do that.
Yeah.
It's just really tough.
I mean, we're going to drop 1.
It looks like we've got like 3 competitive games left.
Yeah.
With North Carolina, Notre Dame,
Yeah.
Clemson, and Florida State.
Yeah.
I think those are the only ones that are like pretty close to being 50-50. At NC State as well.
But
I think we're not.
The other thing is basketball is also, I mean, we could go undefeated in those games and we could still drop another game. And because basketball is such a variable sport, and that's why they do games to 7 series in the NBA. It's just, you can have a player go get really hot, hit 7 for 9 threes, and then suddenly we lose to, Prairie View A&M for some reason.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it just
UMBC beats Virginia every once in a while.
yeah. And it's just one of those things that, I think we can. Like you said, we have very little room for error. And honestly, if we lose one game and we go 13-1, I think we'd still be in. But even that is, I mean, then you're like, right, you're a bubble team, and also 13-1 is still really, really hard to do.
Why don't we just win the ACC tournament?
Well,
that'd be nice, actually.
I mean, this is the best case for Cinderella's ever, is what NC State did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Is going from a team that was solidly out, like probably not even an NIT team, and then getting on a hot streak at the ACC tournament, and then going to
making
Final
a run.
Four, so, which is just nuts, And so
that's why basketball is such an interesting sport with the March Madness. That's why we can do March Madness.
exactly, yeah,
Because the style of the sport allows for craziness to happen. Right. One player can change, like Steph Curry when he was back in how many years ago. Like took
Davidson.
Yeah, Davidson. Yeah, Davidson on a big run. I almost said St. Mary's because I think St. Mary's is where Steve Nash took them on a run back in the 90s. Anyway, I associate them together because the playing styles.
Anyway, it's like, yeah, I think that's when we talk about the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we want some of that magic sprinkled over into the football world, but it's just
Such a different
it's
sport.
a completely different style of sport,
Yeah,
and the variance isn't the same. So
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I'm very excited for SMU. I mean, if we don't make the tournament, let's say we lose 3 of the next games, and we end up 27-6 or something like that, or 26-6. Like, I think that's a great season for year 1 ACC.
yeah,
Even if we don't make the tournament, I still think we have like a very good season already.
It is kind of tough that the ACC's like not as good this year, but still.
I think I saw the other day, and I was feeling this way after the Duke and UNC games. It's like, man, we're really struggling to make free throws.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
and just playing in a way that was kind of uninspired. I was like, man, if we want to play like this, like we could have just kept Rob Lanier. Like, like that's just like not why we hired Andy. But then we were at the game the other day, and we
Georgia Tech.
The Georgia Tech game,
Yeah.
and just absolutely smacked them.
Yeah, it was great.
We were up by like 37 points at one point, up by 31 at half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane. Anyway, but like seeing 4- and 5-star recruits just like sitting behind the bench, like, hey, like we're ready. Like we're coming.
How do we feel about the mood in Moody Coliseum?
Okay, it's whack. It's awful.
The students
The students aren't back.
are
yet,
back.
though. I think that's part of it. And then the other part is we didn't, at the Duke game at least, we didn't really give them much to cheer about. There was never a moment in the game where we're like, hey,
We could win.
we could win. They like kind of
Did their thing.
crushed all their hope.
Yeah.
Crushed all of our hope pretty early.
Yeah. Hopefully, the students coming back. Louisville at SMU on the 21st.
Yep.
That'll be a fun one.
We'll be there. I'll
Cal,
be there.
I won't be able to be there, sadly, but Cal at SMU on Wednesday, the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You won't be there, Jay, but I probably will.
I'll be there actually.
Oh, really?
I got the young alumni suite.
Ooh.
Something. I donated to the Mustang Club.
Oh, wow, yeah.
If you haven't donated to the Mustang Club,
Like this year or like during the football season?
this year they were like they sent out an email. It was like, hey, if you donate, X amount, like it was like $35.
Yeah.
Will the new members can like come and sit in a suite
Whoa.
for the game.
I
it's a
didn't see
pretty
that
good
email.
deal.
So I'm skipping home group to go sit in the suite. So
Yeah.
anyway, so
Nice.
I'll be there for that. That should be.
So yeah, I'm hoping like games later in the month, games in
More
February.
competitive, pick up the mood.
Yeah, the students will show up. It'll be more hype. I mean, we've got a good record. We're playing good basketball.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it.
I'm excited for Clemson to come. I think that's in the middle of February
Yes.
22nd.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a good game. It'll be pretty
Yeah.
competitive. Right now, ESPN has Clemson a 51%, like their FPI,
Yeah, that's just a toss up.
or maybe not. Their analytics, ESPN analytics has 51% Clemson. Anyway, there's a month between now and then, and so but that'll be interesting. And then let's see, who else do we have? We have got Pitt at home. We got Stanford coming up on the 1st at home, and then we close out the season with Syracuse at home. I'm bummed that we've completed our first year, or by the time we've completed our first year in the ACC, and by the time we get to the end of football season next year, SMU will still not have played in the Carrier Dome up at Syracuse. So their football stadium is their basketball stadium. Do you know
Yeah.
that?
What?
They in one of the end zones,
They do
They
the
like-
conversion thing.
they build the basketball court and then build up us like a section of stands.
Whoa.
Let's see if I can.
I
find a
didn't
picture
know
for
that.
you.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
Why would you do that? Outside?
no, it's inside.
Well, yeah, it's
They've
like
got a dome.
some other big stadium. Like they'll do exhibition games in some football stadiums if they need more seating. Because not all basketball stadiums in the pros have a lot. So sometimes they'll have like random exhibition games in football stadiums. They'll just build out wooden platforms.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so like all of this over here is temporary seating, but all of this
Yeah.
is
I didn't know they had an
football.
indoor football stadium.
yeah. So I don't know when we go,
That's so cool.
but that would be a fun away football
That
game.
would be a fun away game. If we basketball game,
Yeah.
or you're saying football game,
Both.
Either.
either. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if we're gonna
That's
travel
so
for a
cool.
basketball game, that would be one of the coolest traveling basketball games.
Yeah.
To go watch a game in the football
I feel
stadium.
like basketball season in Syracuse, New York is not as fun as football season maybe.
Probably not.
It was a little chilly.
Yeah.
But that's why they have
boys.
it in a dome.
Exactly.
True.
It's
So-
a good
True,
point.
true.
Which
Can't
is why
play
the-
basketball outside in the snow.
You can't. These guys can.
Oh man.
Wow.
Well, okay, so
So to get into some more winter sports.
yeah, I think we can come back to some of the other stuff like the jersey stuff another
Oh
time.
yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, that's.
But why don't we start with men's swim and dive? Walker, you want to take that one?
Yes, sir. All right. So ranked number 22. We're 2-2. It's interesting. I know people, probably watch it during the Olympics. I don't know a ton about it still, but I do know that we have a freshman on our squad named Luke Sitz, and this guy is legit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a 5-time ACC Diver of the Week this season. His freshman
Dang.
season.
How many weeks are
already
we in?
he's-
Already, they do stuff in the fall too.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I think
But
they
yeah.
start like a lot of the winter spring sports like start in the fall and then kind of cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is like the true like diving season, I think.
Like we're getting into it right now.
Yeah. I mean, they're only 2-2. They've only done like 4 meets.
Okay,
so.
cool.
But those are pretty involved. Those are it's like several days
Right.
for one meet.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a freshman, 5-time ACC Diver of the Week. He tried out for the Olympics. before he joined SMU. He
That's a
probably
good sign.
probably will be in the next Olympics.
Yeah.
But he has had a podium finish in every event he has completed in this season, or
Dang.
competed in this season. So
Yeah,
every
that's pretty
time,
wild.
every time he dives,
He's been on the podium.
he's been on the podium.
That's nuts.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, this kid's special. He represented the U.S. in the World Aquatics Junior Diving Championships.
Dang.
So is it like the under 18 World Championships?
Well, not under 18
Not under 18.
because he's a freshman. Well, I guess I don't know. Maybe he is a freshman, or maybe he is under 18. I don't know. But he's young. But this kid, he is ice cold, like just so chill, just so relaxed. And you're watching the diving stuff, like it's kind of crazy, all the flipping around and everything. I know I probably sound like an idiot to the diving people, but like it's wild. And he's just locked in. Yeah, he's so good.
So what kind of is he like going from the top? Like sorry. Is he like at the
We need-
big dive, or is he like the springboard kind of
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
I think he does it all.
does it all? Okay.
Yeah. Like I was looking on his Instagram briefly, and he like has a bunch of videos of him doing stuff, and he does all the way from like I don't know, like 3 meter to whatever else there is. I guess.
think it's
I
like
don't know.
Dang.
Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter.
But it's wild.
We should have a swimmer or a diver. One of you guys needs to come on and
It'd be fun.
explain some of the
Yeah.
sport that we don't understand.
Well, it'd be sick to have both, like a swimmer and a diver,
yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
because
It'd be fun.
it's funny. It's like track and field, right? It's like two different disciplines, but
Yeah.
they both involve water, or they both involve land.
Moving outside, I guess.
Running around,
Doing
not even running around
things.
all the time.
But they're like completely different disciplines, but they're
Yeah.
like connected together.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Quick update on volleyball. I know they're not playing right now, but we have an updated roster. Only 4 returners because we had a lot
We
of
had a lot of
lot of
older
veterans,
girls.
yeah, and a lot of like older transfers. We have 6 transfers coming in, and 6 high schoolers that have signed with us.
So we're gonna have a young team.
Wow.
We have 5 seniors, 1 grad student, 4 sophomores, and 4 freshmen. So no juniors,
That's interesting.
and 8 of our 14 are sophomore or younger.
Yeah, so it's a young team.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, a sophomore like has to be out there all the time, right? Oh wait, no. We've got 6 between seniors and in the grad.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
But most of the time we'll have a sophomore.
We're gonna have an
freshman
underclass.
we will.
on
Yeah,
the court.
yeah.
Now, is the roster locked in at this point, or
I think for the most part, yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, this is about the same number of girls that we had last year, if I recall. I think we
Yeah,
had,
they said they
Had
had a smaller team last year.
Yeah.
So this would
Um,
make sense. Yeah,
But I feel like
14.
14's a good size. I mean, you
I
have
think
6 in
13
the
and 14
court.
is what they were at. Last
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and that's plenty, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's the update on men's swim and dive. I know it was short, but like Luke Sitz is legit. Like, and he's a freshman.
Yeah,
If he, sticks around, we're gonna have him for 3 more years.
yeah,
Yeah.
We're gonna run the table.
And it's not like I don't think you really risk people going pro in swimming.
Yeah,
diving.
you-
and maybe we're.
I don't know.
We'd love to find out. Luke,
Yeah,
come on the pod. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, tell us what you're going to be doing, other than the Olympics, outside the Olympics.
yeah.
Yeah,
What are you going to be doing?
But honestly, like, just if I was in that position, I would. You can't really. I don't know if you can go pro. I mean, if you're like Michael Phelps, famous from the Olympics, then you can make a lot of money. But
right.
just get the free education.
Yeah, and I think like there is professional like swimming. It's just like not as big as
Yeah.
professional
Yeah.
football or basketball or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'll give an update on SMU tennis. Coach Chen has at least the men's tennis at 3-0 right now.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think we won a doubleheader with Prairie View A&M, and then we had a win in Hawaii. So
Oh, okay.
doing
That's
very
cool.
well. Yeah,
All of our teams are going to Hawaii.
yeah,
Volleyball went to Hawaii.
we like Hawaii. It's a good.
Hawaii's cool.
It's cool. Yeah. So I'll be honest for the listeners. I don't know a ton about tennis. I actually was learning a lot as I was prepping for this podcast. So the team has been going. We've already had our high school signees in the fall, and we had 2 incoming freshmen, Noah McDonald and Xavier Calvello. Both of them are ranked in the top 100. So I mean, we're pulling in solid recruits from
Like already, they're like
Well, no. I mean, they were the top 100
In the
in the
recruiting
recruiting
class.
class for from high school to college. And so the U.S. has its own internal, its own ranking system for that. And then there's, of course, the global rankings that you have like overall. And so these two kids, I mean, they were ranked probably, I think, like 1,500 in the world and like 1,200 in the world.
Yeah.
And they started in the fall. But we also, like 2 weeks ago in January, we brought in the number one players from Bulgaria and Israel. Like the Bulgarian.
Oh, wow.
And I'll start with the Israeli guy, Ofek Shimonov. He was the junior national champion for Israel, and he's ranked 93rd in the ITF juniors. So basically, anybody that's part of the juniors, not overall pros, he was 93rd in the world.
Wow.
And then this other kid, and this is the kid that's wild, Georgiev. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, so I apologize.
His first name is in his last name.
His first name is in his last name. You just take his first name, you add an EV, and it's his last name.
Yeah.
He's an 8-time
That's awesome.
Bulgarian national champion.
Wow.
For their juniors. So basically, when this kid, before he went to college,
For 8 years.
for 8 years, like, I don't know if it was straight, but for 8 years, he was the number one in their country as like a kid going through it all the way up through high school.
That's nuts.
Just undefeated, basically. And then he's already been a multiple-time member of their national team when they would compete in the European Championships, and he's ranked 113 in the junior ITF rankings. But he peaked at 564th globally as like a teenager, as like a young teen
Wow.
for men's doubles.
And he's ranked 113 in juniors.
That's what he was before he went to SMU. He's already started off SMU winning 6-0 in his games. So
Wow.
he hasn't let a point. Like against Prairie View, like he didn't let up a point.
My God.
That's
So
nuts.
he is like all 5 sets that he played, they didn't score. Like,
That's so impressive.
Wow.
it's wild. He even said afterwards, he was like, I couldn't believe that I did that. I mean, that was just kind of like, it was like one of those things, like nobody does that kind of thing. It's just,
Is that
he's
like the
on a
tennis
tear.
equivalent of a perfect game, or
Yes, it would be like the tennis equivalent of like pitching a perfect game. Like nobody gets a score. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's
this
nuts.
kid, like, maybe he was underrated. I don't know. Like, I mean, but he is crushing it out there right now. And all SMU's obviously we're 3-0, and we haven't played maybe the hardest competition yet, but I mean, that's still impressive. It's kind of like a shutout game. You go and, SMU goes and plays, I don't know, who, like UNT, like,
Yeah.
they're going to score almost always. They're going to score. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to beat them by a lot, but they're going to score. But when you hold them to nothing, it's always impressive no matter who you play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
That's crazy.
yeah. And so that's mostly an update on men's tennis. We'll get an update for women's tennis coming up, but that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Yonnic.
All right. So I've got golf. I wanted to talk about a little bit. We've been doing pretty well in golf. So our men's team is ranked number 17 in the country,
Let's go.
and we're number 2 in
Very
the
nice.
ACC. Been doing really well. Finished 6th in Ohio at the beginning of the year in September. At the beginning of September, and then the end of September, 6th in San Antonio. And then in October, when they had the tournament here in Dallas, we got 3rd of 15. And then up in Oklahoma City, they got 2nd place. And so they're doing really good. We've got one guy that's kind of a standout, Enrique Demiaga. And he is from London, but represents the Philippines internationally. He's number 8 in the PGA Tour university rankings. So like he's like,
Wow.
it's like really up there. But this is like his super senior year. He's had 2 years at FAU, 2 years at Arkansas. And then last year at Nevada, he like dominated. And then
Wow.
he came to SMU. So
6 years.
he's killing it. Yeah, he's been playing for a long time. But glad to have him. And then we've got 2 other guys, Zachary Kingsland, he's number 48 in the rankings. And then William Slides is number 57 in the rankings. And so,
I mean,
got
that's really
some
solid if you
good
think
talent.
about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking all these other schools in the country, they're trying to get 2, 3, 4 guys. There's only 20 teams that can get these
Yeah.
guys, like top 60 guys.
we've got 3 guys inside the top 60. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts. Enrique, he's been, it looks like he's been competing internationally as well. And so it seems like he's done well for the Philippines. Like, so hopefully he'll transition well and continue playing really well. We've got some rounds, some
Matches?
matches.
What are
I
they
don't know.
called?
Tournaments.
Tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some tournaments coming up. They're going to Cancun here in a few weeks.
Ooh.
The beginning of February.
All right.
and then
Maybe
Mobile,
we should
Alabama after
go out
that.
with-
All right.
And then Las Vegas, and then a couple matches in California, one at Stanford in March, and then starting toward the end of April, we get into the ACC championships, and then the regionals, and then the NCAA championship toward the end of May. But what's interesting is the ACC championship is in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Like,
That is interesting.
why is it?
What's over there?
I don't know. So I'll have to look into that a little bit more of why is the
That just made me realize that Bowling Green is in Kentucky in terms of the school.
there's one in Kentucky and one in Ohio.
Wait, is Bowling Green the university in Ohio?
In Ohio,
Wow, I just
Bowling Green.
whiffed. I literally, I felt like this was the easiest. Like, it's like, oh, that makes sense, and then literally, it's not.
Well, it's weird. They're like on the same like interstate, and so Bowling Green, Ohio, Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Huh.
Bowling Green, Kentucky is
weird.
where the Corvette factory is.
Oh.
I don't know if y'all remember. Anyway, never mind. That's a different podcast. Yeah, men's golf is doing really well. One thing that I wanted to kind of like touch on is Bryson DeChambeau. It's like he's been on a heater, and it's been really fun, especially like seeing him come to so many football games this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
Seeing him in the student section with his trophy,
yeah, from
Was-
the U.S. Open,
was awesome. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
it was so much fun. That game was crazy. I think that was either
I think it was
that
Florida State. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun. But I want to talk about the significance of the U.S. Open in relation to SMU. And so this year, the U.S. Open, in 2024, the U.S. Open was at Pinehurst,
Yep.
which is in North Carolina, and it's owned by a company that's owned by the Dedman family, made famous, from the Dedman Law School, Dedman Life, Dedman
School of Life
Humanities.
Science or Humanities. Yeah.
Yeah, humanities and science. And so, like, okay, interesting. So now we got a SMU alum and a SMU owner. SMU alum winning it, SMU alum owner.
Yeah.
But the last time that the U.S. Open, well, I guess, so Payne Stewart, do y'all know who Payne Stewart is? So
Educate us.
he was the Bryson DeChambeau before Bryson. It's like he was the same kind of level as Bryson. He won the U.S. Open in 1999, and he also went to SMU. Wear the same style cap Bryson does, the little slant
Yeah.
kind of one.
Yeah.
So he won the U.S. Open in 1999, but that was his last major championship before his plane crashed, and he died in a plane crash later that year.
Oh, wow.
And so it was kind of like a full like circle moment of Bryson at the same course that Payne Stewart won his U.S. Open at. 25 years later, he won the Open championship there. So it's kind of a cool like full circle. Excuse me. And then afterwards, Jim Irsay, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, he went to SMU. I don't know if y'all knew that. He's an
didn't know
SMU
that.
alum as well. And so he like tweeted and like talked about like the significance like and how cool it was. And he's like talked about how he knew Bryson at SMU and was apparently he supports our golf program. So
He knew
That's awesome.
Bryson at SMU. Oh,
sorry,
he's a lot
they
older.
didn't go to school together.
Oh, you're just saying he like,
But
he
he
probably
knew Bryson when
met him and stuff while he was
Bryson
at
was
SMU.
at SMU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he was involved in the golf program.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So that U.S. Open was like a major tournament. There's just a few of those every year. The other like, so do y'all know what the Masters is?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Super Bowl of golf,
course.
right?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably more like the Daytona 500 of golf than the Super Bowl because it's like the biggest event, but it's at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
like kind of kicks off. Doesn't necessarily kick off golf season, but it's towards the beginning of the golf season.
Yeah.
But it's it's the beginning of the year. Huge event in Augusta, Georgia. Well, the week before the Masters is played,
Mm-hmm.
there's a women's, let's see what it's called, Augusta National Women's Amateur Invitational. And it's kind of a big deal. There's only 72 amateurs who get invited to come play at this. And like Augusta National is the like premier golf course. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
everyone wants to
can't
play
beat
at Augusta.
Yeah.
Have you been?
No,
No. He's got a hat though.
I do.
He does.
My dad has gone to the tournament a few times.
That's awesome.
He always gets me stuff, and then I wear it, and people are like, "Did you go to the Masters?" And I was like, "No, I didn't." I'm a fraud.
So anyway, Mackenzie Lee, an SMU women's golfer, got the invite to go play at Augusta National.
Yep.
The week before the Masters, and so
Yeah.
Which is
Huge.
insane.
Yeah.
Like so cool.
This is like
It's
a
crazy.
bucket list item, like dream for every golfer.
Yeah.
And she's
She's
getting
doing
to do it.
while she's in school.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Mackenzie Lee, she's number 62 in the nation. And so, yeah, that's pretty
Are these rankings for golf? Is that like for college or do they like have, is it
College.
just ranking? Okay.
yes, I think so.
Amateur. It's
they're
like
seem-
amateur ranking, basically.
I don't think so. I think
No,
it's
'cause
just college.
amateur-
Just college.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can still be amateur outside of college.
Yeah, I
Because I
guess
know some guys that are. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Right. You can like keep your amateur status and
Yeah.
there's a couple of amateurs that get into the Masters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Mackenzie Lee, keep an eye out for her playing at Augusta National the week before the Masters. So that'll be really cool.
It's
Our women's
cool.
team is ranked number 43 in the nation, and so they've got some cool tournaments coming up. They're going to Guadalajara, Mexico, to play a tournament hosted by Virginia.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that
of course. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then they're playing in Humble, Texas, at the University of Houston. Then in South Carolina. Then they come and play TCU in Fort Worth, and then there's one tournament for them here in Dallas, and then they go to the ACC championships. Not in Bowling Green, Kentucky, but in Greensboro, North Carolina, which makes a lot more sense.
Makes more sense. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the ACC. So anyway, that's all I got for golf. It's pretty exciting. Hopefully they'll be doing really well. Our men's team looks really promising, and I'm really excited to watch Mackenzie in the Augusta National Tournament. So
Doesn't
Yeah.
it
Really
feel
cool.
like every sport we have feels like it's doing solidly well?
Yeah.
Like it just seems like across the board we actually have a lot of success in every sport right now.
yeah,
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm not
cool.
used to having all our sports doing well.
to go back to like the president, I think RGT like made sure that everything was going to be successful at the coming in.
Yeah.
Like we didn't come into the ACC unprepared.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike Stanford or Cal. Not throwing any shots or anything, but it
Maybe
seems
they
like
weren't quite as prepared.
they weren't quite as prepared, right?
Yeah.
But like SMU has been committed to being excellent. And then so shout out to all the donors and
Yeah.
to our staff and administrators for like really like holding on and excelling at this level.
Yeah,
So-
excelling in academics, excelling in sports, excelling just across the board. Just
Yeah.
very proud of where SMU is right now, and we're very excited for where SMU is
Yeah.
going
Super
in
pumped.
2025.
For sure. It's, I mean, and I remember, was it last week? We're coming up in a couple months. We're coming up on a year of doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It is
Um,
crazy, actually.
But I remember around that time, we had our equestrian team won the national.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Forgot about that.
Or won maybe the conference.
SMU horse sports. We won the national
No, we won
championship.
the national,
right.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
our women's golf team won the conference championship.
Yep.
So it's, I mean, we're solid.
Oh yeah.
And we're still looking solid, which is great.
But like last year we were solid for an American team.
Yeah.
And now we're just like solid.
Now we're just
We're just-
solid.
yeah, just
People recognize
Yeah.
where we're at.
And to close us off, last week the way too early college football rankings came out.
Really?
Yeah. So what's y'all's guess for where SMU is?
22.
I was about to say 22. So 23, I'll say.
They have us at number 9.
No way.
Yeah.
There's no way we're number 9.
Why do they say that? I mean, obviously Kevin.
Well, I mean, we finished top 10. Yeah, Kevin's the reason. They're like
But we
Kevin
have
Jennings.
so many players that are graduating,
Yeah.
and Burchard has to go.
Yeah.
The last sentence of like their little blip on us is Rhett Lashley has something cooking in SMU, and the Mustangs may once again compete at the top of the ACC. And I was looking.
Are there any other
I don't want to be a
ACC
dampener,
schools
but
up there?
that is a little ambitious. I think.
Clemson. They have Clemson at number 5.
Okay.
Guys, And this is I'm sure we'll have a video where we actually go through like what we're thinking for football in this upcoming year. But I just want to say for the fans, when we come into the season, if we go 9-3, we should be
Still
satisfied.
a success.
That's a
Still a
successful
success,
season
yeah.
next year because it's a much harder schedule. 9-3 is a good year.
That's
10-2 is a
Pop-Tarts.
great
They
year.
have Georgia Tech at
Yeah.
18,
We'll be in Orlando at the end of the year. I'd be very
Yeah.
happy with that.
Yeah.
Miami at 22.
If we somehow pull off another 11-1 season like we did this year, it would be wildly successful. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
insane.
Don't get that in your expectations. Like that's our hope still. Like 9-3 is a good year. That wouldn't be the number 9 team in the country, but
Yeah.
that's a good year. So it's
Just
we need
for
to keep
reference.
we just need to keep our expectations in line so that we don't have an up and down fan experience. No, SMU's on the rise, and
Again, as long
Takes
as we
time
beat
to build.
TCU, I don't really care what happens.
Yeah, next year is huge. Honestly,
Next year's huge. Last year, yeah.
I was saying I was willing to go like 1-11 this year to beat TCU, but I'm even more willing
to go
1-11
1-11 again.
to keep the iron skillet. in
Yeah, we
house,
got to keep the iron skillet.
forever.
We're going to that game, right? I mean, it's an away game, but
I don't know.
What are you talking about?
I don't.
Jay's like,
If we don't get press passes, I don't know if I want to go and just sit in the crowd there and be surrounded by TCU fans.
But that's usually when all of our friends come in.
Well, then come in for a different game. Come for.
But it's
Baylor.
come on. Hey,
I
the
don't know.
TCU game 2 seasons ago was like kind of where the idea of the pod started.
Yeah, but I was there just after the game.
Did you not go to the game?
No, I didn't go to that game.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was hot.
it
Yeah.
was hot. I sunburned.
that's why I'm like, if we get press passes, I would go.
Yeah.
But if we don't, I may just stay here.
Just
And
say,
think about it. Every dollar you spend there is going to directly support TCU.
that's true.
That is true. That is something that does bother me a little bit. Is that to watch our team play, we're giving TCU money. It's just gross.
But do you know how good it would feel if we beat them in their stadium and you were there for it?
I've already done that. I've done that twice, actually. Been there when we beat them.
That's
twice.
also true.
And so I'm like, how much more do I need?
But it's the last one.
Eh.
we'll talk about it.
We'll see.
We'll come.
I-
We'll come
I-
back to this later.
I'm not hard in this stance. Like,
yeah.
maybe I'll go.
We'll come back to this when we get closer to the fall.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good stuff, guys.
Yeah, excited. So yeah, once again, thank you for listening to the Mustang Mood podcast. Really excited for this like
2025.
winter and spring sports. I think it's gonna be really exciting. 2025, exactly. Just gonna be a fun year.
Future's
So,
bright.
Future's very bright.
Across
we
the
gotta,
board.
We gotta get some shades going in here
Yeah, I need
because
some
the future is
glasses.
just so bright.
Yeah.
So, but if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube if that's where you're watching, and leave us a review if you're watching on Spotify or listening
YouTube
to Spotify
or anything, yeah.
anywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
comments, and then
Voice memos.
voice memos.
My favorite
most
thing.
importantly.
Yeah.
So head over to the Instagram,
Yep.
and we've got a link there for you to leave a voice memo. We'd love to include you on the podcast. Yeah, and so thank you so much for listening to the Mustang Mood podcast. Pony up
Pony up.
and enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk soon.
See you guys.